Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I am joined with not only my incredible co-host, Jenna. What up, Jen?
Hi, Aim.
But we are here with our first official guest, Bravo by Gays, Larry Crespo. How did I say what?
Did you say it right?
Did I say it wrong?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I was like, how does she know how to say this?
I said it wrong. My first intro to a guest, and I did it wrong. See? I'm not the pro. We are officially here with it on all social media. You can find Larry at Bravo by Gays. I'm going to hand it over to Larry to introduce himself since I screwed it up.
No, that's great. Thank you guys so much for having me. It's Crespo, C-R-E-S-P-O. But I'm not. I could care less. Like,
oh my gosh, Larry Crespo. My apologies, Bravo by Gays. Thank you so much for being here, Larry. Jenna has been manifesting this since I think day one when we signed with Hurrdat. She saw that you were signed with him, and she, in our initial meeting with them, she's like, "So, do you think if we join, we could have Bravo by Gays on our podcast?"
So throw me under the bus here.
No, that's fine. Of course. I love chatting and doing this stuff. So
yeah, it would only be fitting that you would be our first guest and that I would screw up your last name. So thank you for being here. We're so grateful and so excited to talk all things Bravo. We really, Jenna and I have so much to get into because, like Jenna said, she's been manifesting this for so long.
Yeah.
And we have been huge fans for I mean, as long as we've started our page, but even before that. And there's so much happening in the Bravo world right now.
It's insane. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, the last week alone from our last episode, Brittany filed for divorce. Johnny J and Alexis got engaged. Phaedra's on Dancing with the Stars. Where do we even start?
I say we start with Jax and Brittany.
Okay, let's do it. How do
you guys feel about that?
It's messy.
It's going to be really. When you just said things have been like busy, I'm like, guys, we have no idea what's coming. No, like this fall is going to be. Thank goodness it's hibernation season because, I mean, it's just going to be so much. So Jax and Brittany, last week, did we talk about how Brittany had already filed, or did that happen after we recorded?
I think she filed literally the next day.
Okay, so we hadn't discussed yet.
We have not.
Okay. Oh my God, isn't that the worst when like you record something and then all of a sudden something drops and you're like, well, by the time I record again, like it's already going to be talked about. It drives me insane.
That happened with the engagement and with her filing. They literally happened on the same day.
Oh my
God. Guess I just don't even care about Alexis and Johnny in any capacity. The fact that they're engaged feels like cool. It's sunny outside today. Like I could not care less. Okay, Jax and Brittany. So we're obviously not shocked by this filing, right? Larry, where are you at on this?
Not at all. Like not in the slightest. Like
were you shocked that she filed at all, or did you expect that from her on her end?
I was expecting her to file only because like the interviews that she had done like after the separation was announced, she made it very clear that like she was pretty much like checked out. So it was only a matter of time before it happened. Mm-hmm. I just think it's such a savage move, and I love her so much for doing it. Like as he was like released from that mental institution, like I just like good for her. Props for her. She like literally deserves all the happiness. Like she's put up with his shit for so many years. So the fact that like she finally realized that like she can do so much better, and like good for you, girl. I'm all.
I heard apparently she has a full-blown boyfriend. Like this is not like she's not out here dating. What I read on our favorite Bravo Scoop, Bravo and Cocktails is that she has a full-blown boyfriend.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
well, and you think about it, like we've been there, I'm sure, but having someone else lined up sort of does give you
the boost.
The boost to like. It gives you the confidence to really cut off things with the other person.
Exactly.
Whereas like if no one else is kind of in the background, it could be a little bit of a longer process to really kind of untie.
And I feel like with Jax being away for those 30 days, he couldn't get in there and like do his little manipulation tactics. And she was able to hopefully But also watching her on the Valley last season, I felt like she was done with his shit.
Yeah.
She was done. It was good to see.
It really was. And like even in like at the end of the Valley when she was like, oh, you called the doctor because you knew cameras were coming up. She just knows how his brain operates and she knows how it is. I wouldn't be surprised if all of the girls in that group had a man lined up to try and set her up with the moment that So if she does have a boyfriend, I want to know who it is and how he is connected to the group or how they met or whatnot. And I bet you it's from someone on the show.
Sheena definitely introduced.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, she was like, make this about me. I did it. I hooked them up. She was waiting to shine.
Literally. She's like, I need a storyline for next season. This could be it. This could be my storyline.
But I also just love that like he got served divorce papers on camera. So like, give me season 2 right now.
I agree. Did you see some of the stuff that Bravo and Cocktail? listened to Bravo and Cocktails I guess it was on Saturday when they typically released, or maybe Sunday. And she was saying that she thinks that there's been some like financial forensic signs going on where that could have also played into it, that like they have split everything down the middle. And now when you start going, I think ahead with some sort of divorce filing, some stuff with the financials starts to kind of come to light. And maybe she had seen some stuff that she was like, what? Like, and he was like, not, I guess, holding up his end of the bargain with the mortgage and stuff. So she ended up having to do some back pay. And then you think about that cameo that she put him out to dry when she was saying like, he's not, all of this money isn't going to this charity. Something happened for her to go that vile on him.
I wonder, hopefully we'll get to see it. I mean, I also saw that I read him. Well, we're going to talk about Bravo and Cocktails. Bravo and Cocktails is our number one resource.
Yeah, it's like our New York Times.
I love it though.
I saw that she said, or there was a source that said that Brittany had been paying Jax her portion of the rent or her portion of the mortgage, and Jax was pocketing it and not paying the mortgage.
So there's definitely a mess there then. They're onto something with the financial.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. So if that isn't the truth, it's got to be something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, wherever there's Jax, there's always a burning bush. Like, give me a break.
Now, what I find so just like, okay, so she files. They have the same publicist. This poor Laura, what's her name?
Lori Kay.
Yeah. But now I love seeing the headline. It was like 2 days after I think Brittany had filed, basically saying that Jax is all on board and thinks the toxic back and forth needs to come to an end. I'm like, oh, please. All of a sudden, Jax is zen about divorce, getting served papers on national television. Like,
it's like, who did he meet in rehab that's now going to be on his back burner?
I literally don't. I don't even know. I'm so interested to see how the group is going to interact with him once he goes like back into filming. Like, they're all in Maui right now and like he's not there. So like, are we going to see what he's doing while they're away? Like, there's just so many different aspects of like, or like different things that like I want to see go down that like I guess
he's hosting something tonight, the Bachelorette finale at Jax's.
Yeah.
Larry, I have a question. I have so many questions for you, but the first one's going to be, so when me and Jenna talk a lot about Sheena and Lala on the Valley and what's going to happen with VPR.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on where you see VPR going, and more so like where are Lala and Sheena fitting in on all of this?
I love the Valley exactly the way that it is. So them like popping in every so often, like I wouldn't mind, but I don't want to see them full time on the Valley. I don't know. This is one thing. Like, there's so many rumors going on about VPR that like I'm not going to believe anything until I actually like they announce what the hell is going to happen with that show. Yeah. I cannot imagine that after the season they're about to film that they will continue on with the same cast. Do I want to see this like be kind of like revamped into something else? Like, I mean, maybe depending who's on it. Yeah. But I also don't want them to do like, and I just talked about this with someone like last week where like, oh, like Vanderpump Rules is going to kind of like go back to basics and they're going to follow like servers like back at the restaurant. Like, I also don't know if I want to see that either. Like, we've already lived 11 seasons kind of like in that restaurant, that like to go back and like follow a whole new group. I just don't know if I would be that interested in it. But I still want to see like Lala, Sheena, Katie, Tom Schwartz. And really, that's about it. I don't really want to see Tom Sandoval. I don't think Ariana is like, I don't even think she cares about that anymore. So like, but I want to see them in some capacity. I just don't know how, and I don't want to. I don't want to see them on the Valley.
Yeah. It's actually funny because me and Jenna actually said that we think that VPR could go back to basics because that idea.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
Well, because the idea of having people, Jenna and I actually met in a restaurant and it was so messy.
So messy. Like, it was the messiest time of my life and truly one of the best.
Yeah.
And everything that was happening on VPR was happening like in our lives. And it was actually at the time that VPR was premiering.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a good recipe. It's like kind of what they're trying to do in Vanderpump Villa, although that's way too produced.
Yeah.
The recipe's there, but to your point, I don't know if I want to follow all those people you mentioned, but there's a few folks that,
As we're talking about this, I'm thinking too, like, I don't know what it would look like in terms of like filming rights from each of these different spots, but as someone who is still in that industry and like in a neighborhood where it is, there's a lot there. Like there's just so much storyline there that I think if they could almost step out of just, instead of doing like Sir and Tom, like kind of have those neighborhood, you know how like all the bartenders and servers sort of intermingle within a neighborhood?
Yeah.
That is a story, especially if they're hot, young 20-somethings trying to make it in LA. Yeah. There's a show there for sure.
Now that I can watch. My thing is I don't want it to be like Vanderpump Rules new generation. Like I don't want it to say you can't keep the same name. Like I wouldn't be interested because we have Southern Hospitality and that really is kind of like the same gist. And I love Southern Hospitality. So like I can see them doing the neighborhood bar kind of like crew. I can definitely see that. I'm just saying more so like focused strictly on Sir and keeping the Vanderpump Rules name. I just don't know if I'm interested in it.
Especially because we were just there and like, I'm sorry, like no shade, Lisa Vanderpump, but this is not the spot that it once was.
Right.
So it's like you can't try and convince us that this is some hot spot with all the hottest people in LA. It is just factually not even, I'm not even trying to be shady. It's just, it's just not true.
Yeah.
And the last thing we need is Lisa Vanderpump pretending to have these sit downs and getting close with an entire
like she really cares about their lives like that. Like, come on, give me a break.
When you said Vanderpump, the new whatever,
generation.
It made me think of Saved by the Bell, the new class, and like what a flop that was. We don't
literally.
I was thinking Degrassi.
That is exactly how I compared it when I was talking to my friend about it last week. Like then you have like Saved by the Bell, like the college years. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just so it's too much.
Too much. Yeah, I think so Nate, Bravo, if you're listening, I want a cut of that because I think that's a genius idea to take bartenders and servers from the same neighborhood, have them out till 2 a.m, doing who knows what. That I'm watching. I'm watching that.
Okay, Larry, we have some Bravo questions for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So we know we've been creeping for a while on Bravo by Gaze, and we know that our girl B from Bravo and Cocktails.
Oh, yeah, I love her.
Now, did you guys know each other before, or did you meet in the Bravo world?
We met. And so I started my page in November of 2019. Then I really like hunkered down and like committed to it and like during COVID. Okay. And so I met her like in 2020, but it was at a time where like a lot of like Bravo like accounts, like obviously like you become friendly with a lot of people. Right. So it was like myself and like 2 or 3 other pages. And we have all been in like a group chat ever since like the beginning of COVID. And we just like, we talk like all day, every day. And we would do like Zooms and like just talk about like Bravo and like catch up. And then like, we just like, so as the years went on, we just like built a friendship. And then I just actually finally met her in person. Like I've obviously like seen her when like we've talked before. And I just met her in person. BravoCon 2022 in New York City. Okay. So not Vegas the year before.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's hilarious. Like, she's the best.
Yeah, I bet.
Do you ever get inside scoop? Like, are you ever in the inside scoop just from her inside scoop?
Yeah, I mean, we gossip all the time about stuff.
Oh! These are the things that, like, Jenna and I are dying to know.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because you know what her face looks like. And did you have to sign an NDA or anything?
No.
Like, no, because some people do, don't they? Like, aren't people that like are on her podcast or something have to sign an NDA or no? Am I making that up?
No,
Dumois does, I think.
Thing.
Oh, Dumois. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Dumois does that. B definitely doesn't. She is very much like, if she's comfortable with you and you're on the podcast, if it's like a Bravo celebrity, she may just like pop on a video and just say hi. But no, I've never had to sign that. She really is like, and she says it like on her podcast, she really only keeps the anonymity because like of her kids. So.
Understood.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Other questions. So you've been in the Bravo world now for 5 years. You've been to the BravoCons. Bravo Lebs know who you are. You're in that world. We want to know what has been your best and worst Bravo Leb experience. if you're, you know.
Well, so I have, listen, I've had so many good ones. I like BravoCon in general. If you guys haven't been, have you guys been to?
No. I went to New York in 20.
Okay, it is just like such an experience. So you get to see so many freaking people, and I've never. I want to say my best run-ins have been with Craig and Paige.
Oh, I knew it was going to be Craig. I knew it. Everyone loves him.
I love him. Even like Austin, he gets a bad rap, but I just like, there's something about those guys. I love them. And it's like the familiarity though, like the way that they are with their friend groups is like kind of the same way that I am with mine. So it's just the relatable stuff, but they are like literally the nicest people. And I love them. So Paige, Craig, Austin. And then my worst experience, I have really only had one. I'm not really going to get into it, but it happened a couple years ago in New York City.
As Andy Cohen would say, plead the fifth.
But I've only ever really had one bad experience, and it was with that person. And I mean, it's not like it was a big thing. Like we talked like a couple days after it happened, and like everything was fine. So like when I saw that person again at BravoCon, they were like, it was totally cool.
I feel like New York City was the hint, Jen. I feel like that's the hint we could take from it. That's what I'm thinking. I heard it. Okay. The other thing that Jenna and I have noticed is you always get access to that 7-minute teasers.
I think people think that's like exclusive.
Is that an exclusive? Yeah.
No, it's not. Like, I feel like when you like do this, you kind of got to find like your niche and like what people are going to constantly go to your page and like look for. So of course I will always post like news and like updates about like what's going on. And then I post the clips, but like Bravo makes the clips readily available to you on bravotv.com. So I literally
shut up.
Yeah. So it's not like they're always there. So it's just,
so you're just taking that, reposting us, and me and Jenna have been thinking you've got this exclusive clip from them.
No, it's literally just from their website. And it's just like, and I started doing it because once the show was over, I was like, I need to freaking know what the hell's gonna happen next week. So like the teaser is like perfect, but then I like literally some people are like, you're like, I watched the 7-minute clips and then I feel like when the episode airs, like I've already seen this, and then I just realized, no, I've only watched the first 7 minutes.
That's me.
And I was like, so, and then you know what, it buys me a couple minutes if I'm a little bit late to watch like the episode like when it airs. But no, all of that stuff is like readily available on the website, and then they do like exclusive clips to like the outlets. So like People, like Entertainment Tonight. They'll always post articles like that. So whenever they are released, like I always just upload them.
Whoa. And here we are. We learned something new.
Look at that.
No, Bravo's not sending me any exclusive 7-minute clips.
I really thought that was okay. Well, there's a few other Bravo things before we.
I have to know how he feels about the male DJ, the DJ thing.
All of these Bravo men becoming DJs.
Yeah, I mean,
do you have any thoughts on this?
Kyle, you have James.
James
now Schwartz.
Schwartz is doing it.
Oh, I know.
Jax is up next.
See that. Oh my God.
I
will say I have seen James Kennedy like DJ in person. He is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but he's like an act. Like that is what he's been on the show as a DJ.
Yes, I feel like he doesn't count. I think it's like these people that are like, I think Kyle Cook is pre-divorce, Schwartz is post-divorce DJ. Like this kind of new, what did you call it last week, Aim? Like
midlife crisis?
Yeah, like instead of getting a Porsche or a young woman, they're just like, I guess DJing is like not as bad, but I saw Kyle Cook is gonna be. I think I also like I saw this flyer yesterday, and it was James Kennedy at the same place that Kyle Cook is going to be DJing, and I didn't like that for James. Like I feel like he is so much. He's gone. He's
a bigger name.
The work. Yeah. He's a bigger name. Why is Kyle Cook getting this? Maybe I'm just being salty for no reason, but I'm not into it. I am not into it.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I get like if you are like in control of the aux, everyone like really thinks that they are a DJ. Like I just I don't understand. Like I can't picture Kyle like doing turntables, but I have heard that like the events that he does where he does DJ at, like he plays great music.
Okay.
And even like on Summer House or like the reunions, they've always said that like he's been into it, but it's just weird that it's like coming out now. Yeah. I would definitely go see him DJ. Like where I am, I live in Buffalo in New York. Okay. We are like starting to do some like Bravo events, and he is like on the list of things to do, like bring him in to like just see how it is. So we'll see how like, I mean, I don't know, but like everyone doing it is, I mean,
it's losing the
luster.
If there was one.
And then I also was curious, where do you think Ariana goes next after Chicago?
Not back to Vanderpump.
Okay, you feel pretty firm in that, like no more Vanderpump for her.
I just don't see how
that would work.
What that would work. Like she just like did an interview. I saw a clip of it recently where she said she doesn't talk to Sheena. Like, you know what I mean? Like they have like chatted here and there, but like she's like, oh, there will always just like be love there, but it's just like not the same. Yeah. I just don't. I mean, it's her and Katie. It's like really they're all so separate. Like they're also separated right now. I just don't. With all the opportunity that she has had since everything has happened, I can't really see her going back for another season unless she's like obligated by contract. You know what I mean? Like,
which I don't think she is.
No. Yeah. And there's going to be Love Island games, which they usually do over the winter.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's another Broadway or acting thing in her future almost. I mean, she killed it. Larry, you saw her at the show? You saw Chicago?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought you saw it. No. She killed it. She did incredible, and she got so much hype. She brought so much hype to the show.
Yeah.
People are still lining up to see what she's going to do next. So whoever's out there, I think whatever she gets into next.
And I'm sure she has something lined up. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean?
I'm waiting for the announcement. Chicago closed on the 1st. It's the 4th. I'm like looking on her IG, like what are we having next?
I know. I mean, whatever she does, I'm sure it's going to be fucking cool.
Of course.
She just does like, she's getting the greatest opportunities.
It's been amazing too to see her really come into it and do it so well, because that's not a guarantee. Although, you know, that breakup rocked her world and she got all these great opportunities. It's what she's done with these opportunities that like we cannot discredit her for that. I mean, she's really a talent.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So we have a lot of upcoming premieres and a lot of reality TV too. Like I saw Selling Sunset's coming back. Many Housewives coming up. Which Bravo premieres are you most excited for, Larry, that are coming up?
The fall. I am ready for New York. I'm like, I cannot wait for them to come back. I literally fell in love with those ladies. I can't wait for Southern Charm. I'm so ready for Southern Charm. I'm so ready for Southern Hospitality season 3. I literally am so ready for all of it, just because like summer was just kind of like a snooze fest, and there were only a couple shows that were released, and I'm just like, I think I'm just so used to like them really kind of just like having so much on at once that when they take a break, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm so bored. I'm literally ready for all of it. But those are my top three: New York, Southern Charm, and Southern Hospitality.
Jen, what do you're Southern? I know you're Southern Charm girl.
I love Southern Charm so much. Yeah. And then Southern Hospitality is going to be right up there with it too, just because of how we ended things last year. And then I went down the Southern Hospitality Reddit hole, and that was a little bit of fun.
You love Reddit.
I can't. I Reddit's like the devil. Like,
don't do it.
Jenna,
don't do it. And don't do it. Absolutely. But just kind of seeing, because things were really strained towards the end of Southern Hospitality. So I'm really curious to see how they all come back together and if they do.
Yeah. Roni for me is like number one. Their fashion, I just live for to try to be and aspire to one day. Sai, as much as I don't know if I love her, I am obsessed with like her house, her clothes. I'm just here for it. And there was so long that they were saying that Jenna Lyons wasn't going to be back. And knowing that she's back, and I'm happy that she'll be back on our screens again. We're almost at time for ours before we bring it over to Larry's podcast, Bravo by Gays. But I just overall thoughts on OC this season. Where's your head at? What do you think?
I'm obsessed. I am loving every episode of it. I think between last season and this season, they really kind of grabbed me and like brought me back in. I am not really like the biggest Shannon Beador fan, but I like this season, like I am just find myself like sympathizing with her, and like the fact that she's like being so open about everything that she's going through. I love to see it. I am obsessed with Emily Simpson. She is my number one OC housewife. I love her so much.
Amy.
So she's killing it in the confessionals. Like everything about this season I'm loving.
So Jenna and me Jenna couldn't be so different in who our favorite housewives are.
Really? Yeah.
Emily Simpson is the fact that woman brought a hoagie into a sauna.
I know.
I was like, I'll never stray from her. It will never change. She could never leave me. She brought a turkey hoagie into a sauna.
Yeah.
Or a turkey sub for folks that don't know what a hoagie is. I live for her. She is my favorite. And I think me and Jenna have felt the same. Like Shannon isn't someone that I've ever rode for. Mm-hmm. But this season, the way that Tamra is kind of it's just, we've seen the last few episodes, her showing more empathy, but I almost wish Shannon wasn't so forgiving. She's so easy to forgive Tamra. It doesn't make sense.
I know.
She's so vulnerable right now that
that's
I think
true.
Having someone who she was so close to be sympathetic to her is like just means the world. Like she needs that, and she's needed that. So I don't even know if it's a choice that she's like actively making. I think it's just her emotions are like feeling good about getting anything from Tamra.
Yeah. And what did we think about there was so much talk of Teddy being back on everyone's screen.
Oh my God. Why though?
It was like everybody was talking so much smack about Teddy being back on her screens last week. And this is a hot take, or maybe not. I never minded her when she was on my screen. Yeah. I never minded her. And everyone was like, Teddy back on my screen with the memes of like mean faces and things. I never minded her. She came in, she played her part.
I kind of think Bravo does it on purpose.
Of course.
Like I think they were like, let's who we could get in here to ruffle some feathers and let the memes go wild. And I think Teddy was like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. Like, that's fine. I'll take the check.
And she is just like still so close to the Bravo world that like, it would make sense. Obviously, she has like the Two T's podcast with Tamra. She has the podcast with Emily. They know that her and Vicky do not get along. So the fact that she came in and like and just like kind of acknowledged them with like, oh, hello, Housewives and Vicky was such a good, hilarious moment on television. But like, it also did not bother me to see her. I thought it was so funny. But I can understand why people may be like annoyed just because. Like, I don't mind her on my television. I used to listen to like Two T's in a Pod like pretty frequently. And then I just found myself getting annoyed with her because I think it all just kind of went to her head. And she calls herself like Teddy Walters, and I'm like, it's not that serious. You interview Bravo people and like you recap shows. Like it's not like take it down a notch, but like
we do the same.
Yeah, literally. And I'm just like, okay, like you can see it just kind of like got to her head a little. I enjoyed that moment. Like I thought it was hilarious seeing that.
I feel like that will go down as an iconic, you know, you're watching these sometimes and you're like, this will go in like Bravo history books. This is a moment forever and ever. Well, we're at time on our end of the podcast for Bonded by Bravo. We're going to move over to Larry's podcast, Bravo by Gays. We were so grateful for your time with us today, Larry Crespo. You can catch Larry on Instagram at Bravo by Gays, and his podcast is Bravo by Gays. Anything else you want to shout out, Larry, before we head over onto your podcast?
No, that's it. I'm really just on Instagram and the podcast, and then a little bit here and there on TikTok, but it's the same. Everything is under Bravo by Gays.
Okay.
Amazing. Thanks for joining us today, Larry.
Thanks for having me. That was so much fun.
Awesome.